Hey beautiful people, welcome to my channel. I think most of you who are watching this are on some kind of a spiritual path. And probably most of you have had moments of great seeing and insight and clarity. But also moments perhaps of frustration or feeling stuck, or I will just never get there. So today I would like to share 3 important aspects that can really help us on our spiritual path. Help us to become more stable in our seeing and what we know to be the truth. If you like this video, please press like. And if you like, subscribe to my channel. We are all together on the spiritual path, essentially as one. So it is really nice to share and to connect with each other. I think it is very common to feel stuck or frustrated on our spiritual path. It is very rare to find a being that is fully and permanently established in the truth. But the first thing these beings would say is that we are no different to them, that it is so simple, and that we are already that. However, when our perception is clouded by residues of ego and personhood, it sometimes can feel impossible to accept this truth. I think I really know both sides of this story. I made a video on Enlightenment, my story, in which I explained how from the day I was born, I always wanted to be with God. And that the world around me really feels alien in many ways. So enlightenment and spirituality always felt very intimate for me and very natural. But there also was a lot of pain because I was forced to act like ego and person for such a big part of my life. And this felt like I couldn't make my own choices. And yeah, it was like a deep violation of who I really am. Acting like ego and person caused and still causes a lot of anxiety for me because it feels like I have to hide my true feelings and who I really am and to kind of constantly pull off an act that feels very painful. At school, everything is taught from an atheistic viewpoint, right? And this is regarded as the only truth. So I was scored and evaluated according to these parameters only. And when you grow up, this gets only worse as you are forced to find a job that preferably makes a lot of money, has a lot of prestige, and to pursue the desires of ego and personhood. All of this changed when in my early 20s, I received books on enlightenment, like the Yoga Sutras, the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, and other books. And I also found my spiritual master. But it has not always been that easy for me than maybe for other beings, because I have a very sensitive nature and I feel things very deeply, like the suffering of my loved ones, the ignorance of this world that leads to so much suffering. And of course, I do know that these things only appear on the surface, and that suffering only exists in ego and personhood. But these things still affect me. So today I want to share 3 things that really help me to keep my eyes fixed on the truth. And that are 3 important aspects of enlightenment. First, commitment. I think this is really difficult for a lot of people. We are so used to do a million things at the same time in order to survive, basically. And social media has diminished our ability to focus on one thing only greatly. We need so many stimuli to keep our minds occupied and not get bored. And also society reminds us all the time that there are so many things we need and we want, right? That's the way society survives. But with enlightenment, it has to be our main, or dare I say, only focus. This doesn't mean, of course, that we have to give up our job and all the things we do in life. It simply means that this has to be our main focus. As long as we listen to satsang, when we have the time to do so, it can only be successful to a certain degree. Because we are safeguarding so many other interests at the same time. We believe the mind and that there are so many other things that need to be done first. But satsang really has no end. There is not such a thing as stepping in and out of a satsang. And we are consciousness all of the time, not only in moments of seeing. Commitment really means sincerity. We must be sincere in our quest. And I think this is the second important aspect of enlightenment. A lot of times people say, "Dear Master, take all of me now." But do we really mean that? It is a very powerful statement which will lead to immediate liberation, so to speak, if it is really meant. But is there a part of us that still wants to be a father, a mother, successful in a job, that still fears for financial security? What might happen if I commit to this fully? That still fears or doubts as a result of identifying with a person. Sincerity is proportional to how much we really want this. And I think this is where a lot of people get stuck. Because we think we absolutely want this, but at the same time, ego and person is still believed in. Which brings me to the third important aspect of enlightenment, trust. If we do not identify with ego or person, there is nothing to fear. There is no concern. What has consciousness got to fear? Making money? Being popular? Being heard, being seen, being loved, safe. Trust comes with believing that this is true. As long as there is still a little bit of doubt, there will always be some fear. What will happen if I do this? What will happen to my life? What will other people think of me? Of course, we can't force trust. But sometimes it helps to simply identify these things and talk about them, and to see that this could be the reason why we feel stuck or that we don't progress on our spiritual path. To really remind us, but look, this is true. You have seen it, you know it. Stay in that place where you know it is true. Do not follow the mind and all the doubts that want to call you back into dependency. Sometimes it can be helpful to simply identify these roadblocks, so to speak, to talk about them, to look at them clearly. And this alone will disentangle a lot of confusion. So, commitment, sincerity, and trust. Consciousness is who we are. For some reason, we appear in a human form for a while, and people have given different explanations for that, but it doesn't really matter. All of life is an invitation for freedom, and this is our deepest and truest desire. All other desires in life will lead to this most important one. And this will be the beginning of the end of suffering and the culmination of a human life. To see that this is what we are. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please press like, and if you like, subscribe to my channel so we can stay connected.